to Ask a Puppy Trainer Show. This is where we answer all of your questions about puppyhood. I'm Bethany.
And I'm Sparky from the Puppy Academy.
If you have a puppy question you need help with, join us live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time on Instagram or TikTok at the Puppy Academy.
This is where we tackle your toughest training challenges and guide new puppy parents on how to make puppyhood easy.
If you're ready for more in-depth puppy help right now, check out our online school at thepuppyacademy.com to have us personally guide you through every step of puppyhood and in raising a happy, well-mannered pup.
We're excited you're here. And now, let's get to the show.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome.
How's it going? That'll be better for editing. Welcome to Ask a Puppy Trainer Show. I'm Bethany. This is Sparky.
It looked like, is Instagram going?
Yes, it's going. Can you just focus?
Welcome to Ask a Puppy Trainer Show, episode 151.
And this is Cosmo. He's so cute.
He's a good boy.
He's a good boy.
He's going to curl towards me,
He
just so you know.
seems a little older. He's really cute.
He is 8 months old.
8 months old, yeah. See?
He's a bit of an older pup, more of
just
an
know,
adolescent.
If I'm not being chewed on in the first 10 seconds, I'm like, there's something different.
And he seems like he's enjoying the pets versus trying to chew us for the pets.
Yeah. All right, guys, you guys can put your questions down below in the comments. You can also message us directly on TikTok or Instagram, and we'll get to whatever we can. Let's jump in with a question right away. You have the wrong sheet. Why don't you do Jen's? We're going to combine two questions from Jen and Alicia. We tried the puppy Playpen and just barks her head off. What should we do?
Mine is 9-week-old puppy, hates the Playpen. It's only been 3 days, but he loses his mind if he's in it and I'm nearby.
Take away the Playpen.
Yeah. You're probably creating a lot more frustration and conflict using the Playpen.
You're creating barrier frustration. There's a magical trainer term for it.
I actually like that. Barrier frustration is a great term because there's a lot of information you can pull from it.
Yeah.
Teach good place command. Use your dog bed, like your place, as your back tie. And what we mean by that is you put them on place, you put a leash on the back of their harness, and you basically just tie them to something that's close to it. They can walk a few feet off around the bed, but they're at a distance from you. So you're still getting your supervised separation. They're still able to relax, settle, build confidence, independence, and eventually the ability to self-soothe, which is the most important to me.
I personally will not do that. Sorry, I'm just pulling up the Instagram so I can see the questions. I personally won't do what he said until I have not only taught place, but place duration. Not that they have to stay on place, but it teaches them leash pressure. A lot of dogs, especially I'm afraid that 9-week-old is just gonna go crazy at the end of a leash. So for me, I wouldn't do any back tying, any playpen. The puppy's tethered to me for out time, and I'm doing more crating. I just wouldn't do the back tie
until you teach place?
Until I've taught place and some place blocking duration in the way that we teach it in our online school, which, 9 weeks is perfect for that, I'm just saying. And it goes through, all the steps and how to teach it. But it's just a balanced training technique. We're probably a little heavier on food than a lot of other balance trainers, but that's basically what it is. That would be my advice. I'm going to jump into one of these questions that we just got on here because people are on. Hello, people. Rosie says she's adorable. He, trust me, it's a he. I'm hiding the he as we speak, is adorable. I love him. He's so sweet. All right. Laura, 5-month-old golden retriever. We are home a lot, but we still use the crate and he does great in it. How long should he be in there? A day. We do back tie as well. 5-month-old golden retriever, you haven't even seen, what are you doing?
I was seeing the age.
Oh, 5 months, yeah. Laura, 5 months is nothing, and so you haven't even hit adolescence yet. So I would consistently, even if everything's going great, potty training, doing good when he's outside of crate, all those things, I would still do a minimum of 2 bouts of crate during daylight hours a day, 2 to 3 hours. That would be my go-to. What about you?
More than that. At least 3 to 4.
I said minimum.
Yeah, I would say.
You need 3 to 4 hours?
I think a minimum of 3 times a day, and I think a good 2-hour window to start would be a good one, and then you could build up to 3, and then eventually you could build up from 2 to 4 hours twice a day.
Okay, this is a good kind of different question. I think we take this for granted that people know how to do this. HM Jacoby says, my puppy, 5 months old shepherd, spent a lot of time watching videos, reading blogs. My question is, when the dog dashes out of the crate. You've talked about this behavior and given some instructions, but how do you teach them to pause, turn, to practice them not dashing out, but waiting until you say, come or let's go? So I'm assuming what you mean is your puppy, when you open the door, is still darting out of crate. So what you're going to do is you're going to use the crate door as a threshold. Well, it is a threshold, but as spatial pressure threshold, just like I would the front door. So I'm going to do the 2-inch rule. I like to do the 2-inch rule. If this dog leans forward, like if they lean, okay, work with me here. Okay, you're too calm.
Not a food dog.
He's way too calm. So if your puppy like leans and breaks the barrier, you're going to shut that 2 inches.
Nope.
And you're going to do it pretty firmly if you need to. If you have a dog that's bolting out, then I'm going to do 2 inches again. Okay, he can handle that. 5, if I'm really dealing with a darter, 5, 6 inches. Okay, and here's the key. Then I'm going to squat down, if I haven't already, if I'm not already doing this on the ground, leash him up, just clip a leash to flat collar in crate, or put the full harness on, like whatever you're most comfortable with. Shut the door again, because as soon as you put the leash on, he's going to be like, oh, so now I can go. Then I'm going to stand up, 2 inches all over again. And I am going to wait until I can physically see that puppy. It's harder in the plastic crates, but physically see that puppy. It doesn't have to sit, but it needs to move away, like actually have a mental and physical backing up. They may still be dancing, but they're backing up because I keep shutting that door until they get it, until I can stand up. Puppy's on leash. I open the crate door wide. I'm blocking with my feet. Maybe the puppy's just pushing, pushing, pushing. Shut the door again. More firmly, maybe. And then finally I get that back off. And then you're not done yet if you've got a bolter. You've got to where you can open the door. You've backed off. Invite the dog out. Let's go. Nice and calm and chill. They might be confused and not come out. You might have to pull them a little bit because they're like, I don't understand.
You stopped us for the last 5 minutes. Why would we want to come out now?
Yeah, exactly. That's common. They'll figure it out. But then they run out, turn around, right back in crate. Turn around, right back in crate. You do this repetition as long as they're not going to pee. You're going to do this repetition until they walk out of crate. Now you've got the temperament that you want in your home, and you're good to go.
Guys, we're going to reconnect our audio really quick.
So give us 1 second.
It's on.
It's good now?
Yeah, it was just stopping.
Okay.
So.
If anyone can't hear us and the audio is stopping, please throw it in the chat. Trouble hearing you. We have someone monitoring it that will pick that up. And we can try to fix it if so. Thank you, guys.
So you think it's switching from echoey to the mics?
No, it just
Nothing.
It's like no sound.
You know for how long?
Oh no, just clips, just like little seconds here and there.
Great.
I think I got 78% of what you said.
Gold.
That's close
Brilliant.
enough, right?
Maybe it'll be in the replay. Maybe it's just.
Maybe, yeah, okay. Maybe the replay will be good. Okay. Alrighty. Do you want to do one of those questions? I've got one here. If
Kelly.
not,
Yeah, I'm do Kelly.
Okay.
Madam Kelly. So I have a question. We have a 10-week-old chocolate lab. Keep the crate in our room to hear us sleeping, which I did with my golden, which worked great within 2 days. But not sure this is working for her, but Thursday will be a week. Apparently I had 2 questions. I didn't see the question in the first one. All right. She's great off leash. I put her on it when we leave the house, which she does well with too. Should we be using the leash to get her out of the crate in our room? Just answered that. Yes. Assuming it's okay, the crate is in our room on the 2nd floor. Yes, you should be using the leash to get the dog out of the crate.
Yeah.
Follow everything just said, including that once the dog is out of the crate, it's not shooting down out of the room, going down the stairs.
So just not to refer you back, but just rewatch the last question replay. So, okay, I got one on here.
I think you just put a period instead of a comma or instead of a question mark. Yes, you can keep the crate in your room.
Yeah.
So he can hear you sleeping. Actually,
Fine.
dogs really followed their
Circadian rhythm.
Thank you. There we go.
Cicada? No, circadian.
Circadian.
Cicada is a bug.
Circadian. Circadian.
Sure, you know what we mean. We're smart.
The
okay.
rhythm.
The rhythm of the sun and the moon and the light and the dark. Okay. On here on Instagram, I've got 8-month-old puppy pulls me relentlessly when we walk him on leash. Any ideas of how to correct this? I would not call an 8-month-old a puppy.
That's an adolescent dog.
I think kind of maybe, I could be wrong, but maybe just getting out of that mindset might be a good idea to start with. So for us, with an 8-month-old, we are still using our food foundation, but we also might be adding corrections. I would make sure you have head control. Even if it's a little dog, some form of head control. It could be a slip leash, it could be another type of tool, gentle leader, like whatever you're comfortable with. Do a deep dive of online videos, or you could get some one-on-one help to learn how to use it. And here's the thing, when dogs are really driven, you could correct them all day long. We get 10-month-old labs in on prong collar all the time, and they're dragging us and their owners because the tool is only there as a window of time to build you some leverage, but it does not train your dog unless your dog's crazy sensitive. They'll just get used to the next new thing. So anything that you do use, you have to utilize your turns, teaching leash pressure, your food work, advocating for them spatially on a walk. Like there's a lot of aspects to it. So if you do switch to a slip leash or gentle leader or something like that, it doesn't do the training for you. So don't accidentally fall into that trap.
It just gives you leverage.
But I would say, if there's nothing going on your street, can you get your dog's attention where it's turn, stop and sit food, turn, stop and sit food, 10 to 15 steps, turn, stop and sit food. Those are your walks right now. And then you see a distraction, turn, stop and sit food, or keep going, whatever the case is.
Until you can stop and sit, get food.
Yeah, change pace, fast to slow pace, inside turns, outside turns. Like, are you working your puppy? Are you teaching them how to work with you, how to work with the leash, teaching them the dynamics of the walk? And then break, go sniff. And then let's go back into heel. Heel is advanced, like you'd get to that point. So stop going for a walk. Your dog can't go for a walk. Most puppies can't. Start teaching them the foundational basics on your block, and then add a block. And go to the park and work in a section. And then that section gets too easy and stale. Go to the next 20 yards of a section. That's how you start training your dog.
You're working the build focus outside. So when you eventually do heel and you go to the park and you walk your neighborhood at 5 p.m. at night when there's 50 dogs out, your dog is able to see a dog but still give you focus and pay attention to you. You have to up your value over the other dogs.
I've got a really hard question that I really want to address that I don't really like to, but I don't shy away from this stuff, but it's not very nice, puppy sweet stuff, but it's life, so we're going to do it.
It's life.
Voice says on Instagram, 10-week-old Golden has been with us for a week, only a week. I'm adding only a week. He sometimes growls, even meanly. I'm guessing you meant meanly, not mainly. What is normal versus resource protection? We have young kids.
I'm going to hit this one. I'm curious when the dog is doing the growling. You ask, what is okay growling? When do we accept it? If we're playing with our puppy and
with a toy.
And we're using a toy.
I'm like,
and we're using a toy and they're just kind of amping up and getting excited and just doing a low-key growl. You take the toy away from them. They growl a little bit louder as they come back for the toy.
Normal.
That's just a pushy puppy, but
you
it's still pretty normal.
But you need to learn how to properly play fetch.
So you have to dictate that for the puppy. When you're doing tug, there always has to be a drop for a more pushy puppy. They then get rewarded by getting the toy back.
Well, honestly,
when you're doing fetch.
Honestly, there's so much more to it than that. This is just like bare bones.
Yes, you do fetch, you throw the toy, they bring it back, you always get it from them. You get a sit, you get a moment of calm, good. You shouldn't have to hide your toy behind your back or anything.
Don't hide your toy.
Hold it and wait them out. And then when they settle for a moment, you can say fetch, throw it again.
Yeah.
And I'm only throwing it like 5-6 feet on a leash. I'm not doing it off leash. I'm not allowing my dog to do zoomies and run around with the toy. It's all very controlled.
The focus is to make it really easy for them to get the toy back, like make that an easy game, but yet high accountability for drop it or out, whatever you want to use. If it's not happening in the context of a toy, you have a problem. And if you have kids under 10 years old, I would seriously rethink keeping that puppy.
It may not be a good fit for your family, and it's easier to do it now after a week than it is in 6 months when they all have built a big relationship with the puppy.
Because you're dealing with a genetic component. Maybe you held the puppy for a week and you've spoiled him rotten, so he's worse with the growling, but maybe not. Either way, whether you did that or not, there's a genetic component that he doesn't like being touched there. He doesn't like being picked up. He wants to be on the couch. There is a genetic component to this dog, and a home with young kids is not the right fit. You are opening yourself up for a whole mess of issues and a lot of money down the line. If this dog is an outside dog, we could have a different conversation, potentially. And so you could kind of let me know. But I'm just always assuming these dogs live inside.
And she's not saying she recommends that you make the dog an outside dog because of these issues. She's just saying if it was, it'd be a different conversation.
Yeah. All right, let's get to one of these. My fairy tale library. Sorry, I had to do that. I thought it fit. Question on dog waiting to be fed dinner after the humans eat. Waiting to feed the dog after we eat. Okay. 14-week-old Sheltie eats twice a day. Should be 3 times. Gets a lot of treats while training. Well, if he gets a lot of treats while training, then probably doesn't need 3 times a day. Lots of play. I always get worried when I hear lots of play. He's good in the kennel except at dinner time. We kennel him while we eat. If it's true that he shouldn't eat before us, can he have a frozen Kong or lick mat or something? He is in another room, but I'm guessing he smells the food.
There's nothing saying that he has to eat after you guys.
Well,
I can tell you from
big trainer thing.
I mean, it can be a big training thing, but that's not like a rule.
Be the
a
alpha.
line in the sand.
Spit in the dog's food.
I gotta be honest. I feed my dogs before we eat dinner because they're
calmer.
more manageable and they're easier to train when they've already been fed. Because we're not doing drive training, we're doing stationary training like place command or place duration during dinner time, or they're crated and they're crated in a completely different bedroom. I'm going to let you go over like the nitty gritty of it, but just the things I noticed is where's our crate? If it's in the living room or it's in an area that the dog can hear you guys eating, hear you conversing, that's probably going to be some conflict. I'd consider moving that crate to a different room, possibly even a different floor of the house if you have the ability to do so.
He said where it's at.
Did he say where it's at? I didn't see that.
It's in a different room, but it's fine. Just keep going.
You might need to make it farther away. You
Yeah.
might need to make a quieter environment. When we put dogs in the crate, it's usually as far away from the main living area. They're covered with the towel. They have a noise machine.
Before we start prepping.
Yes, correct. All of that is already done, just so it's easier for then you guys to eat your food and your dog is able to relax in the bedroom.
Yeah,
That's all I got from it.
I don't know why you're feeding before you guys eat. If they're like you're working with a trainer and they've told you to do it, then keep doing it. But then you really have to work on a 14-week-old puppy's impulse control. If you're working with a trainer that told you to do that, then that trainer should also be teaching you how to block your kitchen area, creating a physical boundary, not with food, not with place yet, but like actually stepping into your dog, and then you move away, they eat up space, you step into them again. Like it's a very body language driven style. Most trainers that give this type of advice. And hey, I worked in rescue and we would mix our hands in it. We might even spit in the food just so the dogs got our scent and learned our scent. But I personally don't think that that's necessary when you have a puppy in your home. They already know you really well, and it's just not, that's not the route that I would take. I would
spit in the food.
Yeah, and some
sure I heard that right.
Some trainers will say to do that, like to be like you've eaten the food first, and
It's
then
the alpha mentality.
and then the other members come to the pack and eat. But I just, in my experience, and I learned from trainers like that 15 years ago, lots of good advice in there. But I've just learned that dogs aren't stupid, and if you live with them in your home, they know whether you're a leader or not. Like there is no amount of making them wait till you eat that's gonna make them feel like you're in control. If then you're like, oh hi puppy,
And you're all cuddles and sweet.
yeah, I mean, it's not going to give you the leverage that I think a lot of people hope that it gives you. So I just really wouldn't worry about it. The reason we did it in rescue was to get dogs to warm up to us and get used to us, because it's such a stressful thing to be in a new environment. Your puppy's past that. Like, don't even worry about it. Is my point. Like, just feed him first. and then see how he is being at a distance. He might not be better. It might be the people food aspect of it. And you just keep working on your impulse control work to increase his ability to be able to handle it. So, but especially if you're only feeding twice a day, I don't know how many treats you're giving, but typically puppies will do 3 meals a day. So he might be really hungry by dinner time and smelling that human food. I mean, it's just, you're really, really asking a lot of such a young dog.
What was the breed? Did it say breed?
Shepherd mixed, I think. Sheltie.
Sheltie mix. Shelties are food dogs too. Big, crazy food dogs.
All right. You got one or you want me to go?
I got some really tough ones, so maybe we do mine last. I got one that's going to take probably 10 minutes to do.
Oh, okay. We already did the pen one. Let me see have we had any pop up on TikTok?
We have.
Sparky doesn't have it up. Okay. All right. Sorry, TikTok. Yeah, go ahead and read one of yours.
Okay. All right. This is a tough one, guys. This is Whiskey the Wiener Dog. And I already knew it was a wiener dog. The irony is I was reading it, I hadn't read the name yet, and I was thinking, I bet you this is a wiener dog.
Yeah.
And now I see the name. So, okay. My puppy is 6 months old. We brought him home at 9 weeks and have been trying to crate train him ever since, and he's never stopped crying through the night. Tried putting crate in our room, and it made it worse. I would shush him, and he would stop for 2 seconds and crying again. We've caved and started putting him in the bed around 2 a.m. As of 5 months of interrupted sleep is killing us off. Really. They did this for 5 months where they just didn't sleep for 5 months, guys.
Or didn't sleep
that's some
well.
dedication.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't sleep well. We want him to stay in the crate all night without hours of barking, but nothing has worked. Ignoring him, not ignoring him, anxiety spray, heartbeat bear, clothes that smell like us. We don't know what to do anymore.
Here, Kimberly, why don't you go ahead and take Cosmo?
You have
He's getting bored.
true separation anxiety. But
Yep.
you probably even have one step past that. You probably have true crate anxiety as well. There's probably a lot of boundary frustration. So I'm sure you've done all this before. I'm sure you've done the daytime crating. Did we do that?
Sorry, I did that. I hit the cameras.
I'm sure you've done the daytime crating. I'm sure you've gotten on a schedule. But let's say that you haven't. Let's say that you are doing the overnight crating. If you haven't started the daytime stuff, a lot of the times that can help you a lot more because then you can put him in for 2 hours as far away from you as possible and he can kind of bark his way through it. But what we're looking for is, does he bark for an hour straight? No breaks, no pauses, nothing stops him because that's true separation anxiety. And honestly, you have to do things outside of the crate to influence what's happening inside the crate. Just something off the top of my head. When I'm bringing my puppy out, am I giving them love when they come out of the crate? Am I giving a lot of affection while they're out of the crate? Am I giving affection before they go back into the crate? These are stuff that we have to change. How much training am I doing with my puppy? Are they coming out and free roaming for 20 minutes? Are they playing with their toy for 30 minutes and then going back in? We need some training. I know Bethany is a big advocate for the double stacking of training, which actually really settles the brain down a lot more. Yeah. You can give them a little bit of rest time on place, doing like place duration for your supervised separation before putting them back in the crate. But these are the things that we have to focus on. What's your saying? Nothing lives in a vacuum.
Yeah, nothing lives in a vacuum. Usually things are related. You know, any improvement that you might see, it's going to be honestly what happens outside of crate mostly. You can correct a puppy in crate. There's a lot of things you can do to correct escalation, to de-escalate them. But if you're not
6 months old.
But if you're 6 months is old enough, but if you're not pairing that with draining him outside the crate to teach him how to rest in the crate.
And we're not talking physical exercise.
No,
we're talking mostly mental stimulation with some physical mixed in there.
So I would sandwich things. I would do really fast intensity basic obedience. Like I'm not teaching. If he only knows sit and come, I'm going sit, come, good, sit, come, good, sit. And we're both sweating at
low expectation, but lots of movement.
We're both sweating at the end of 10 minutes and then a little water break. Then I might do some fetch, teaching drop it, like proper fetch, like with, lots of structure to it. And then I'm going to, if the dog seems to still have energy, I'm going to do another training session, but maybe I'll teach something new, or work on down. I might just slow it down to a normal pace. So I'm like 10, 10, 10. What am I at? 30 minutes. And then I'm going to do another 10 minutes of what we call dog meditation, which is you would take crate, since the issue is crate, where and the dog's on leash for all of this, where the dog goes in crate, sit or lay down, whatever they know how to do, pause, take a deep breath, then they come out, turn, pause, go in crate. We call it house. And so we do this slow patterning over and over again for 10 minutes until hopefully the dog is just like, leave me alone. This is so boring. And then you just unclip the leash, shut the door, walk away. This isn't going to work for 3 days. So for 3 days, you're going to have a dog that still barks and cries and whines in the crate. But you cannot give them, this is the hard part, you cannot give them any out time where they sleep outside of the crate.
You beat me to it.
So you go 3 days of being, well, ever since I forgot it with that one woman.
I know, I was waiting for you to
And
forget
you
it
told
again.
me about it, and I was like, I cannot believe I forgot this. I'll never forget it again.
Going to again.
I know. And so for I say 3 days because that's what we've just seen dogs can push through. And then after 3 days, they cannot keep barking anymore and they will sleep in the crate.
They're basically hitting exhaustion
Yeah.
because you're not preventing them from sleeping at all. You're just only telling them where they can sleep.
And
it's
you need-
never in. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, and you need to get them in a different room from you than at night, because if you're in there at night, they're much more likely to go to sleep. So I would have them in a different room of the house, or at least like a padded walk-in closet, padded by like clothes, something like that. Bathroom with the fan on, if it's a small enough dog. Like you need to get them in a different room. But even all of that, all the stuff, the affection stuff he went over, what I went over, all of that is not going to get a dog that's just magically fine and crate. This is something to start to chip away at the anxiety and see improvement, because this is a very, very hard thing.
And I don't know how long you've been following this, but we can tell you with almost sure confidence, or at least I will say this, wiener dogs right now are the worst separation dogs I've worked with in 5 years.
Yeah.
In the last 5 years,
Something's
they
happened
are very
with the
tough.
breeding or something. But
I
yeah,
think
it's
that
very
they're
hard.
so popular that they've been bred more than they should, so they're not picking the genetic like specimens they usually want to breed with. They're just breeding everything.
Yeah.
So I think it's tough.
It's very tough. It definitely gets some one-on-one help. I want to go back. We've got the question about the golden retriever that was growling at the family. We got some more context. Thanks a lot. Growling is mainly with toys, sometimes food if we get really close. So I don't totally understand that. Like a dog that is having issues like this should never just be given a toy. We don't give toys anyway. We give chew toys to a puppy, but we don't just
In
give...
a controlled environment.
Yes, but we don't just give a puppy like a normal toy, because we want toys to have to do with us. Toys is hunting. Your golden retriever just went and caught a bird and is chewing on it in the corner of the living room. That's where their brain is. And so it's hunting. So if you're going to have toys out, it should be human-dog relationship, fetch, tug, whatever that is, not just toys around the place. You need to remove that ASAP. And if you have a dog that growls over toys, not growling while playing with you, but growls while having the toy on their bed or in the house when
Puts
you
a
walk
paw
up,
in front of it and then
and
growls
growls.
while looking at the kids.
then you will, for the rest of this dog's life with children in the home, you will never have toys or food out, ever, unless there's some sort of interaction.
That means
happening.
theirs as well, the
Yeah.
children's toys as well.
Yes.
And we are also mentioning this because she mentioned prior, it may not be the right fit for your family. It's something to think about now. Is
Yeah.
that the same dog?
Yes. Also
Okay.
happened when I moved him, so not even a kid, but when the owner moved him from floor asleep to crate. I think it's mostly pushy puppy, but may talk to breeder. So again, this is just our personal opinion. I think it's his too. If I'm a normal human, like a normal person who wanted a family dog, I just would not keep this dog. I just wouldn't.
You're the average Joe who wants a happy, well-rounded family dog.
Yeah,
You
and it's
don't
just not
have
gonna
that,
happen.
and you probably won't.
Like, I am so strict with kids, mostly because it was strict for me growing up on a farm. When to touch a dog, when not to touch a dog, never to hug a dog, but all these things are so normal now.
To you.
To
and me,
families.
and to families.
Like I go into a home and I've got this dog that's bitten the kid before, but the kid is hugging it around the neck, and I'm like, why are you letting that happen? Like this, you have to train the kids too. And the kids, when they're not brought up with structure and they're not brought up with dogs and respecting their space, you are going to have a heck of a time teaching the children and the puppy at the same time. So that's just our personal opinion. Okay. Nellie said, do we have time? Yeah, we have time for
2
one
minutes.
more. Let's see. 5-month-old trying to eat everything in sight. When I try to take the harmful objects out of his mouth, he growls and he snaps at me, but he's usually super sweet. So I have a 1-year-old golden doodle right now that I went to their house to pick up, which usually they come to me, but this was a special scenario. And so I got to see firsthand the damage that this dog did to one of the family members. Sweetest golden retriever ever. Had something in his mouth, and like his hand was all swollen and everything, and it was like a mask that he had found on the street, and so they didn't want him ingesting it, which I get. The more you are grabbing things out of this puppy's mouth, the more resource guarding you're creating. So for me, this is not possible to go through in 2 minutes in a really effective way, but I would get some one-on-one help right away. I would do a balance of, yes, correcting it, but if you don't also work on this impulse control outside of when it's happening, like through fetch, like can your dog have their favorite toy and you say drop it or out without touching it and they let it go? Because if not, you'll never have a chance when they have something that they deem valuable.
Yep.
For now, we would just say do leash pressure up in the air and just wait till the dog gets uncomfortable and drops it. And then you just move the dog away, pick up the item, everybody's safe.
And that's only going off of if the leash is on something that's not a harness.
You could try food too. Yeah, it has to be around the neck for it to work.
So you're looking at martingale, slip lead, other training tools you recommend getting a dog trainer for because they're significantly more difficult to introduce.
And you could try food too. You could be like, let me go into the kitchen, grab the bag, crinkle, 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 and maybe they'll drop what it is if they're in the home or if you're out on a walk. That's another way to try it.
I think it's very smart to think about when you're walking that you're policing the area that you're walking across.
Yes,
so if I'm walking down the street and I see a cellophane bag of chips and it's empty, that dog is going to pick up that cellophane bag. We already know it. So I've already steered them away from it.
Yeah.
I put my body between them and the bag. I've added a little bit of, can't see that arm, added a little bit of pressure on the leash as I'm walking by if it's on the harness, and I just need to kind of get a bit more leverage. You have to see that as a precursor and work on it before you get there.
But then if you don't work the dog through it, seeing the bag, paying attention to you, giving them some room to make a mistake, correct, redirect, like if you're not working on the issue as well, then you're also not going to see improvement. You're just managing him all the time. So you kind of have to decide what route you want to go, but this is definitely seek personal training territory. Yeah.
I like a little bit of both of those routes. You work them as far as you can, then you work them down from that elevated sit. I'm getting into the weeds. We shouldn't even get close to that. All right, guys, thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank
1
you,
p.m.
guys.
Pacific time.
Bye.
See you guys. Thanks for tuning into Ask a Puppy Trainer Show.
We hope you found some advice that you can use to help make puppyhood a little easier.
Don't forget to join us live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time on Instagram or TikTok at The Puppy Academy.
This is where you can get a chance to ask your burning questions in real time. And if you want even more puppy guidance, visit our website at thepuppyacademy.com for info on joining our online puppy school.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing to our podcast and leaving us a review.
These reviews let more people find us and supports us on our mission to help as many puppy parents as possible around the globe.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.